republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I still want to think like. Do you silence your cell phones or electronic devices? And we'll start with the reorganization meeting. Election of officers, and we'll start with the board chair. Are there any nominations for calendar year 2025 board chair?
I nominate Sarah Nagel.
I second that. Can I second?
Sure. But you do.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? After the first, it's only
I know.
two
We
after
gotta
the
do
one,
the
right?
third.
It's the third. or
Third
right
one
after-
is where you make the motion,
Oh,
so now we should make.
Now-
Oh, yeah, I make the motion. No, Sarah Nagel.
now you can.
And I second.
Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Vice Chair, are there any nominations for the calendar year 2025 Vice Chair? I nominate Becky. Are there any other nominations?
I'll second.
Are there any other nominations? Yeah, I was just nominating.
Okay.
Now I make a motion to accept Becky.
And then
as
I-
Vice Chair.
No, you could second. And I'll second.
Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 2025 clerk. Are there any nominations for the calendar year 2025 clerk?
I'll nominate Cassandra Nelson.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Then I would like a motion to accept Cass as the 2025 clerk.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Are there any nominations for the calendar year 2025 treasurer?
I nominate Brian.
Huh?
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? I'd like a motion to accept Brian Grimsley as the calendar year 2025 treasurer.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
These are so quick, I can't even.
Get in on this action.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Committee memberships. Current committee members are closed for the recommendations. And Mike and I had multiple discussions, so we decided on as follows: activities, Brian Grimsley and Bridget Brown. Budget is Becky Bennett and Cassandra Nelson. Curriculum is Sarah Smith and Sarah Nagel. Facilities is Cassandra Nelson and Sarah Smith. Personnel is Sarah Nagel and Brian Grimsley. And policy is Bridget Brown and Becky Bennett. Can I get a motion to accept committee memberships?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
With the first person in that list would be the chair of that committee.
Yes.
Okay.
So Brian would chair activities, Becky budget, Sarah Smith curriculum, Cass facilities, me personnel, Bridget policy would be the chair of that committee. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agency representatives for the Minnesota State High School League, we have Brian Grimsley and Bridget Brown. For the Minnesota School Board Association, Sarah Nagel. Community Ed Advisory Board, we have Brian Grimsley and Bridget Brown. Paul Bunyan Education Cooperative Joint Powers, Sarah Nagel. good, because I think I'm still their chair.
Yeah, I think so.
Health and Wellness Committee, Becky Bennett and Cassandra Nelson. District Leadership Team, Sarah Nagel and Sarah Smith. LEA or Title I Administrative Representative would be Josh Smith. I get a motion to accept the current agency recommendations for agency representatives.
I'll make that motion.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, now the fun stuff. School board regular meeting calendar is enclosed. We are considering moving the monthly board meetings from the third Monday of each month to the second Monday because we move multiple of them anyway. So can I get a motion to accept the calendar as presented with moving the meetings to the second Monday?
I'll make that motion.
Any comments or questions?
And that starts already.
Yeah.
We just updated the calendar.
Yes, it's updated. I mean, I updated it assuming you would pass it, but so that starting
Okay.
next month from here on out till next January,
Yeah,
would be the
I'll tell you
second.
that calendar invite ones are already on the calendar.
what's that? Sorry.
You'll update the calendar invite ones that we have on the calendar.
Is that on the,
It's on our website.
you know, the calendar that you click on?
Yep. I don't know if it's on,
No, it's not.
it's not on the
Never been
activities
before.
one.
That needs to be on there.
Well, I can have John put it on
You
there.
have
I'll
it.
remind you.
That would
We asked him last year and it never happened.
That would be delightful.
But yes, because then you could subscribe to it
That
and
would be great.
it
And
would
actually have
update.
you help me read
It is
it.
beautiful.
Wait, like you could like.
Everything that the school does
Well,
just
well,
drops into
it's-
your calendar.
It's not,
The park region.
we can't update the Park Region one, but we can update ours.
Oh, we
Oh,
can't
that sounds
subscribe to
spectacular. Let's get on that.
that. We want it on the park region calendar.
We don't control that.
I don't know how.
Because they don't want everybody's board meetings on from every conference.
Yeah.
But
But it's on our activity page if you put, you know,
Oh, if you get a way to subscribe to that, that'd be lovely. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Bank depositories. We need a motion to accept the proposed bank depository. We got a handout.
Yep.
From Missy.
Missy, you want to touch base on that real quick?
Yep. So I send a letter to Bremer, Pine River State Bank, and then Unity Bank. Unity Bank is who we currently use. And then they are to respond with their current rates, fees, et cetera. My recommendation this year is to stay with Unity based on the fact that Bremer did not return the paperwork. They mentioned that they won't return paperwork unless we're actually serious about switching banks.
Well, we're never gonna get serious about switching unless you return.
I know.
Yeah.
And then Pine River State Bank, their their rates just aren't at where Unity's are. So that's why I'm recommending that we just stay with Unity. So, and the fees are comparable between the two.
Perfect.
I'll make a motion to stay with our current bank.
I'll second.
Now you can.
Okay. Why do we use a bank that charges us? Why, is there something against using a bank that doesn't charge us for our money? Like Mid-Minnesota has free checking. Is that what I'm reading here?
Charging us for,
No, that's the interest rate.
Just right on the check.
that's the interest that we earn.
Oh, that's okay, that's what we're receiving. I'm sorry. I thought we were paying a fee for that,
No.
our money, and I'm like, why are we wasting money? I got you.
That would be a valid question. But,
Thanks, got it.
all right, any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I need a motion to authorize Superintendent Malmberg and Business Manager Melissa Berry to invest our school funds as needed for calendar year 2025.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
What happens if you said no?
Somebody else would have to do it, I guess.
Somebody else gonna have to get out the old.
We've never found that out. Want to try it?
We're in discussion right now,
Well,
so
what would that, what are the reasons, Kat?
that would make steps very
Yeah,
complicated.
no.
That would mean that the treasurer would have to come in and do all of those things.
Yeah, so let's not, please.
I think you should.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Electronic fund transfers. I need a motion to authorize Superintendent Malberg and Business Manager Melissa Berry to transfer funds electronically as needed for payroll purposes for calendar year 2025.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Need a motion to designate Superintendent Malmberg as an identified official with the authority of Pillager Public Schools to authorize user access to the Minnesota Department of Education secure websites.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any questions or comments? That seems new this year. Did they just rename it? Because I know we've done something like that every year, but did they rename it Iowa?
Same thing.
I don't remember the Iowa.
I don't remember the Iowa part either. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. God, I didn't even know I made that much. No wonder I'm rolling in. Presently, the board chair receives $3,000 per year and board members receive $2,700 per year. Board members also have the option of being paid $100 per meeting for committee meetings and special meetings. I need a motion to continue with current pay or change it, but that needs to be in your motion when you make a motion. If you'd like to change it.
I'll make the motion to keep it as is. I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The Brainerd Daily, well, I like how we took out the daily part. The Brainerd Dispatch is the only local newspaper that is published daily. And covers all of the.
Online it is.
Online it is every day.
We could add the word online daily.
It's not the same.
It's not. I need a motion to accept the Brainerd Dispatch as our official school newspaper.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Other than Vice Mayor Cohen? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Robert's Rules of Order. I need a motion to use the soft Robert's Rules of Order for conducting school board meetings, which I did. I will just make a comment that I did take a class on Robert's Rules of Order, and they said if you use the soft version, you might as well just call them Bobbies because they're not Roberts anymore. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Let's keep it on. Don't need to get firm.
Any questions or comments?
That's fair.
Yes.
Thing all the time.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. We do not need a motion for a new signature plate because everything's the same.
Yep.
All right, that concludes our reorganization meeting. Did I miss anything for the reorganization?
So,
Moving on to the regular meeting. Like, is there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Madam Chair, there are not.
All right, then I would consider a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? My only comment is, I think everybody's trying to rush to get out of here to watch a game.
It just
It's gonna
is smooth.
delay and delay.
Somebody has workout.
Doesn't somebody have?
Yeah, can you tell?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Visitor comments. Oh, welcome everybody. As in nobody.
Is your name?
What is the sound?
Lake Region.
Lake Region,
Oh,
scrimmage.
so- Then next, we consider the consent agenda, consider the minutes of the December 9th, 2024 school board meeting. Consider the monthly cash flow, including investments, the monthly bills paid by, and approved by treasurer,
Yeah.
monthly bills paid in activities accounts, the donations, which I have. I'd like to thank the Black Bond Giving Fund, which I believe is an online giving thing, correct? Who is that?
That's the first time donation for us, so I guess I'm not exactly sure. And
Right,
there's nothing
okay.
attached with the check of.
Yeah, $2,500, so thank you to them. But
The check just showed up?
It did.
We'll have to Google that.
It's a giving fund.
I think it's from the
I
online,
know, but how
like
they find
arts
us?
clubs, when the
That
art
would be
teacher
our
did the
fund.
No,
online.
no, it could be a community fund too, so like, there could be a private person out there who puts their money in there, and then they can distribute it out where they advise them to do it. So Blackbaud is both ways. It's an online nonprofit source where people can raise money for, but a donor can actually,
It'd be anonymous.
yes, have their investments there, and then
Oh, okay. So it could come
kind of like
from
a,
local for all we know.
community giving fund as well.
Well, thank you to whoever donated the 25, did it have a direction of where it wanted it to go?
I have nothing attached to it.
Oh, well, thank you to whoever donated $2,500.
Yeah.
We will spend it wisely. The Lincoln Scandia Valley Lions Club for $250 for the robotics team. A donation of 2 AEDs for the athletic teams to take with for traveling for a cost of $3,836 from Takedown Gym.
Nice.
And then also to the Pillager Area Fire Department for $1,500 for the robotics team. Thank you so much to all of them. That's very generous. Those are our donations. And then also the personnel summary sheet, which was enclosed. I need a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, just highlight in that personnel summary sheet, we do have on there the retirement letter from Mr. Savage as our high school principal. So just want to give him a shout out for all his years of service, and he'll be wrapping up the end of June. So we'll be talking further here in the next month or two about that process of replacing him and stuff, but just wanted to acknowledge him and his work, so.
Thank you so much to Jason Savage for all of his work around here, specifically putting up with me through all of my graduations. And he stayed for the last one. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Passes. On to special board reports with possible action. We're going to start with curriculum tonight.
All right, our curriculum committee, we didn't meet this last month, but I think next month or so, hopefully we'll have a chance to pull together. So just a couple of updates. We had, in December, we did submit our American Indian Education Aid application. We also had our AIPAC, or American Indian Parent Advisory Committee. They needed to do what's called a vote of concurrence, that we are applying for those funds and we're trying to do those same programming pieces that we outlined last year. So they did that. I need to make sure to acknowledge that as a school board. VPK is voluntary pre-K. We applied last year. We were not awarded funds. They reopened that up this January because the state has changed it from a 2-year program to a 4-year program. And so we are going to apply again.
So if we don't get it this year, we can't apply
And
for
it sounds
4
like
years.
it can't for 4 years. So we're looking at that, and we're looking at a couple of districts around us that did get awarded some seats.
Brainerd got it, correct?
Brainerd got some, and then Staples got, I think it was 2 years prior to it. So we're going to kind of look and ask some questions of what do we need to have in our application so that we can get awarded some as well.
Will that affect them getting awarded it if they tell us?
No,
They don't.
no, they did. They did
They might
add,
not tell us.
they might not tell us. the
If
right
that affects
information.
them.
I'm here for Pillager, I'm just telling you all right now.
I am also, but they're not going to tell us if we don't.
They
If
did,
it takes
they
them.
added additional seats. They did add additional seats, so that's.
Because I would like to tell us not to tell if it's going to take.
Right, it was competitive.
We think we have some different ways to maybe apply in that application
Yeah.
differently too, to maybe help us qualify maybe. I mean, it took Staples several years too.
That was the feedback we initially got right away, is it took them a number of years.
Okay.
Sometimes it's how you enter information and show, you think you're doing the right thing by putting certain information in where maybe that hurts you actually by
Right.
putting that information in. So we'll see if we can tweak it a little bit.
Give it a shot. One that I don't have on here that just came over my desk this afternoon. His ADSIS is also, the application window opens again this month as well. It will have a submission date for March. So, just an assessment update, our winter assessment window is opened up. So we're at approximately the halfway point of the school year. And so their started assessments actually last week, and they'll go for this week and then into next week. All of our assessments local assessments are through Fastbridge. And in that, the reason it takes a little bit longer is it's not just digital. So K1 and some of 2, they're one-on-one assessments. And so we have a team going around and assessing students one-on-one. I did staple onto yours a couple of just samples. As I mentioned in the fall, as we go through the year, you'll get different reports from Fastbridge. I just wanted to give a couple of examples. This is called the Screening the Intervention Report. And so some of the reports that teachers have available to them. This is a report that is used at each of the benchmarking periods to give us an idea of where a kid might have a hole or need support, and then it gives suggestions for that as well through the Fastbridge system. So there's one in here, the grade 1 example that I printed out is for math. And you can see it either gives an indication of on track, or it gives a suggestion for an area or a support piece, which is also in Fastbridge. And then the other one, if you take a look at that, is a reading example. And so in this case, again, it will give on track. And then if there's an area of need, and that area of need might be very small, something that needs to happen in the classroom, or it might be something that an interventionist is working on as well. But we have a very robust system in comparison to kind of what we've been using, and it's all aligned to what we've been learning around the science of reading. In addition to the local assessments, the MCA tasks, super exciting, are coming up again in the next couple of months. And so January PD days, our teachers will be prepping and getting ready, doing the training around that. They are still all digital tasks for students. The students in grades 3 through 8 primarily, and then in high school we have a 10th, 11th grade task, one for English and one for math, and then a science test. That leads me into the last one, which is the PD days. Next week, January 20th and 24th, so Monday and Friday are professional development days. Next week is a busy week. We have conferences as well on Tuesday and Thursday. You can see a couple of things that teachers will be attending. If you're primarily in the elementary, our elementary classroom teachers will have letters. They are coming close to the end of that training, that 2-year training. So that's a really big deal for us to get through that. We will have all of our elementary classroom teachers trained.
Because a lot of schools just started this
There's a
year.
lot of schools that are just starting and still piecemealing things together. This is phase 1 in terms of the Literacy Act. Phase 2 goes into the secondary, and that's our elementary, or our special education teachers and our ELA teachers as well. That's a much smaller group, but beginning in the summer, we'll have that phase beginning, and then they'll have 2 years to do that. The other one I want to point out, or two that I want to point out, School Links. So our high school registration is in School Links this year. This is what they've been using for that PLP. I've mentioned it over and over. We're loading all of the information into that, and so the kids will be able to set that plan in there and do that registration right within the system. So very exciting. And then the last one, our EAs. We have one other PD day for our EAs, and that's the 20th. We have Sourcewell doing a Catalyst workshop for that day, and so our teachers, especially our elementary EAs, many of them use Catalyst, we use Catalyst strategies, so they will have that opportunity to go to Sourcewell.
Does anybody have any questions for Ryan?
I just have to say, whatever we're doing has been amazing. My kindergartner can sound out and read things amazingly, so phonics has been a great addition compared to what I did with my 5th and 4th grader. So it's been a beautiful change. So,
The curriculum we've implemented, UFly, and I don't know that next month, but in March, we'll have Wendy come in as well. it is really phenomenal to see it in class and see the interaction with kids as they're learning it.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
Thank you.
Anything else from curriculum?
Nope.
Policy?
We met last Monday, and basically, if everybody has this little paper, it does basically tell you what the changes are or what the recommendations were. A lot of it is just formalities of language and grammar. So this would be considered the first reading of 503. It's just to correct a note on the page, 507.5, correct a citation and legal references, 606, correct statutory reference, and 606.5 is to correct another statutory reference. We do not need to take an action on 613. Crap, I have a note of why we don't need to take an action. Was it because they, hang on. Oh, we don't need to take an action on that one because basically it's being discussed in the 2025 legislature, so they're not really changing anything yet. It's not formal yet.
Yeah, it was just basically in the notes.
Yeah.
It was just a note, it wasn't actually a
Yeah.
policy.
615 is a grammar correction. Let's see here, what else do we have? I'll look at my notes too. This would be considered the first reading for policy 519 and 721. Again, it's a more correction of statutory language. Let me get to that one. 519.
It's just statutory information.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything special about that one.
And that one we could do, Paul, we could do that with just one reading, so we could take that as an action item. The rest of these can do all one at a time, Bridget.
Oh, so we need to take action on that one right now?
Yep. So we could do that and just look, under number 3, all of these items, 19, they only need to have one reading. We can take action on the rest of them.
Policies 503, 507, 606, and 615 were the first reading changes. So, and then after that, we can take action on them because they only need one reading according to the.
701 doesn't need 3 readings?
Nope.
Okay, I took the wrong notes then. All right.
Well, first of all,
Now I'm confused. Where are we?
So we're at 519.
We're at 19, so we're taking action on that right
Yes,
now.
it's just a
Okay.
statutory change, so you would make a recommendation.
You'd make a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the recommended changes to update the statutory interview information in Article 3A.
I'll second that.
why is it only one reading?
Because it's just the verbiage. You're not actually changing the actions of the policy, I believe.
Well, we've changed verbiage and policies, I mean, since I've been on the school board.
They don't have,
That's why I'm kind of interested in why. it's just-
because it reflect current statutory language under model policy, a school board, under our policy 208, a school board could approve these changes in just a single meeting. Because it's another policy, because, good question.
They have
I
updated,
understand.
they've updated their rules and you could read it 3 times or you can just accept it because
Oh,
there
they-
is very
And they
little.
put all those up here. Why?
Okay, any other questions?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Policy 617.
The Minnesota School Board Association recommends rescission of this policy, which was tied to the profile of learning, which I was told doesn't really exist anymore. So the policy doesn't pertain anymore.
So we're actually voting to
Remove
rescind it and remove it.
Make
I'll
that
make-
motion. Bridget?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to
Rescind.
rescind, policy 617.
I'll second that.
Yeah, and that's because the, what do they call it? The profile of learning, they rescinded at the state level, so it doesn't, the program doesn't exist, so. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Policy 701 adds explicit authority for the board to use reserve funds, which we already do, but this formalizes it, I guess.
Apparently, we never had formal authority to do that before.
So the added verbiage, when projected expenditures exceed projected revenues, the school board may consider use of an available fund balance if one exists. That's it. That's what it says. That's what they're adding.
Like, make a motion.
Make a motion to accept that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Gonna take it.
Okay,
Pass
and
on
then,
this one.
Becky's quick on this.
sorry?
You're so close, but. Any other questions or comments? Which I just have to comment on the fact that that's a policy that let us do what, to my knowledge, we've been able to do the whole time I've been on the board.
So now somebody just decided
Now
to make
somebody
a policy.
decided to make it a policy.
Somebody got bored.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Policy 721, update uniform grant guidance equipment definition and small purchase procedures dollar amount, add cybersecurity requirements. So despite the federal government's increase in the dollar cap for small purchases, Minnesota law limits the cap to 175,000. It was at 250,000. They have now limited it to 175,000. And then just some cybersecurity that the district must take responsibility and other measures to safeguard personal information and things like that. So I make a motion to accept policy 721.
And is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Yes, we did. We don't have it. Don't have it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Facilities.
We didn't meet, but Mike's got an update.
Yeah, I did meet with representatives of Lakewood on Monday regarding our conversations that we've had in the past regarding possible sponsorship or donation to add that health and wellness center type of facility. They're very interested still. What they have asked me to do is come back to them relatively in the next few months regarding more of a detailed plan as to what that might look like, and also more of a detailed plan as to what the cost would be of that plan. So I have reached out to Robert. I did give you guys one a while back from Robert, from Wold Architects. That kind of was an estimation, and it also kind of didn't really go into remodeling of those two rooms, how much that would cost. So I've asked him to dig deeper into that, give us a real more figurative number. And I think the conversation from us as a board would be, at what point are we willing to donate anything into that project through lease levy or unreserved funds or anything like that, and then go back to them with those more detailed plans. So I've asked them to do that. So when I get that from Robert, we'll have a facility committee meeting and we can kind of share that. I think then once I get that more detailed number from Wold, then I'll share that with Shelby at McQuaid to see what that would do to that lease levy, of which we talked about. It's a few dollars a month, but it extends it, so over years. I'll get a more detailed number for that for you as well. So they were definitely interested. A couple of pieces to there that they would, as part of that deal, because they talked about continuing support with TCO, which we've done, and we'd like to continue. We couldn't find a trainer with them last year. They would like that to continue and maybe have some kind of agreement with that. The other piece would be just to keep them in the loop of the insurance bids that we have. And then one other piece was they really would like to see some type of silver sneakers program. There is tons of money and grants available through the silver sneakers program. So giving that to like we have talked about, opening that up to our community and maybe even employees of Lakewood. They have a grant writer that is really familiar with the Silver Sneakers program. Part of that Silver Sneakers program would be having that available at some point during the day for that group. So we might have to work out something where the schedule, like from 11 to 1, it's open to the community or something like that. So, Silver Sneakers people tend not to want to come in the morning or tend not to come in the evening. They like to come midday And that's kind of part of that grant program. So, but they're very intrigued with that part of it, and then having the community people and that part. So once I get those numbers, we'll meet and bring it back to them.
To
So,
be honest, getting anybody of that age in the building as often as possible
Yes.
helps us for future
absolutely.
things.
Yep.
also.
And I think we could do something like that where we just, 11 to 1, most of our kids are eating lunch anyway. So maybe we have to work around a couple classes where FIAD, wouldn't be in there at that time. We'd move FIAD classes around. So it would be open from like 11 to 1 in the community area. And there's things that we can do with that. So, but taking advantage of that grant application, which you can get a lot of money for equipment, which would help reduce that cost. So,
Cool. All right, anything else from facilities? All right, moving on to budget.
We did not meet. I gave you a sheet with my update for the month. Bank depositories, just to summarize or recap that we do this on an annual basis where we go out and review the accounts. We've already talked about it and approved it for the year, so we're good there. The levy certification was approved at the December 9th board meeting, and that has been submitted to MDE for their regulations. County indebtedness report. So on December 31st, the district is required to report to Cass County the amounts of outstanding debts. And for the calendar year of 2024, the district did pay down $870,000 towards our debts. Second budget revision, we will start moving into the second revision in February, and that will be approved at the February committee meeting, the budget committee, and then it'll go to the school board after that. And then the says 2025, that should be corrected, that's 2026. Official budget for next school year has been already underway, just because we have some upcoming changes with revenue and the compensatory. And so March through May will be very preliminary, and then we'll look at that to approve at the June board meeting. Special ed fiscal monitoring, we have been selected to be monitored by MDE. So they request numerous amount of documentation from the district. Anything from being our purchases for the last year, what it was spent on. They want a full list of inventory that has been purchased with special ed funds and how often we inventory our inventory.
I like how you put selected, like it's a special honor instead of that toy that it really is.
We're so excited. Thank you.
And then they look at all the staff that's coded as special ed and their time and effort. So that's just an example of what they've requested. And then today, we also received notice that our district was also selected for CARES and ESSER fiscal monitoring. So very similar to what I just did for special ed. They're going to look at all the expenditures and documentation for that and make sure that we spent the dollars appropriately.
So you already finished with special ed?
Well, I submitted the first round of documentation on Friday.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting for the reviewer
Feel
to
so
come back
honored.
and have further questions or need further information from me.
And have you done the next one yet, or that?
I just got that today, so I have not.
Boy, is there any other ones that could come?
I don't know.
What else would we be selected
Yeah,
for?
I think that's
Yeah.
kind of,
Three.
Is that kind of like?
when I read the email, I thought right away, she's gonna be really happy.
although if you're gonna be a lot of the same information, get them both done in the same year.
Well, yeah, it's not this, it's, the
Or
request
some
is the
of
same,
the
but it's for
information.
different people. It's like a whole different group.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but now you're essentially doing it all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Way to be selected. I'm
Yeah.
glad you were selected for such an honor.
But if we get it done now, we should be good for a long time.
That's what I was thinking.
You would
right?
sure think so, but
Yeah.
you never know in their process. Do a too good of a job, they'll select you again next year.
I'm gonna make it 2 years out.
Anything else from budget?
No.
Well, we'll probably have to have a meeting sometime in February, also with curriculum. We'll have a meeting sometime in February too, so
Okay.
just kind of plan on that at some point.
Personnel. Did we meet during this last meeting or was it before the last
That was
one?
before, but this
Okay.
was carried over from,
That's what I thought.
we didn't have the contracts at the time.
But the contracts that we looked at then, we have since finalized and are looking to approve. So I will make a motion to approve the 2025, through 2027 custodial contract with PenMac.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Mike, would you like to comment?
Same, no rate increase with the custodial. That was the same rate.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I will make a motion to approve the 2025 through 2027 educational support contract with PenMac.
I'll make that motion.
I made the motion when I-
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll second. I didn't hear you. I wasn't listening to you. Sorry, Sarah.
It's all right.
Please forgive me.
I, no comment. Any other comments?
That one did get bumped a little bit. I
Yeah,
think
like a 0.5% or something?
Yeah, so like 1.24 to 1.27.
Yeah.
Overall, about a $30,000 increase. We have not had an increase in any of the PenMac contracts since I've been here, since we went with them. Mainly due to the increase would be Child Family Leave Act, ability for some of them to file for unemployment insurance. So they'll have some additional costs that they want to recoup. So it was still a fair increase even with that.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And that was all for our personnel. Moving on to activities.
We did not meet, but it looks like we need to dissolve the wrestling co-op with Little Falls. So I will make the motion that we dissolve the wrestling co-op with Little Falls.
I'll second.
That starts for next
School year, yeah.
school year, correct?
But you have to do a year in advance, so you get into the section assignments and stuff like that.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Nothing under other, it looks like. So moving on to the superintendent's report.
Just a few items, just a reminder, parent-teacher conferences coming up on the 21st and 23rd. Middle school from 4 to 7:30. Both of those days, that's a Tuesday and a Thursday. That same week, we do not have school on Monday the 20th and Friday the 24th. Those are staff development days, mainly due to the conference of that week. January is School Board Appreciation Month, so I just want to give you guys a shout out for all that you do for the school, the district, appreciative of putting your time and effort into our school district. So thank you for that. Snow days in the high school is coming up in February. That'll be the 3rd through the 7th. So we have different activities every day. And then it concludes with the dance on the 7th. We have the daddy-daughter dance. That's also coming up Saturday, February 8th. That's from 6:30 to 8:30. There'll be information in our newsletter. Movies with Mom, that comes up Saturday, March 8th. That will also be in the newsletter. And speaking of newsletter, I gave you all a copy of what this will be. This will be going to print this week. So you kind of get a little bit of a heads up on it. What's that?
What's the movie?
I don't know if they picked it
You
yet.
got the opera?
That's all right.
Blood drive is on Wednesday, February 12th at the school. The National Honor Society does that. And then just one other items. I know I sent it out in a JMC message too. Avian's started with their 3rd menu choice in the elementary. And that includes a salad option a couple times a week. And I was informed that the salad, the first week had over 100 kids taking the salad. So
I was gonna say, in the elementary, I'd like to know numbers, because
So it's over 100 now. How long will that go? Will it continue to drop? Will it stay there? But that was good. So they've started
included
that.
the next question is
What's
how
that?
much
That
ranch
included
was
elementary?
used.
That is, we've always had
Oh,
3 choices in the high
I
school.
have to send my kid with the prepackaged chicken from Costco and then we put it on the side.
Oh, listen to you, that's nice.
I signed it, yeah.
They want
But we had a lot of kids take it.
They
So
just eat the chicken.
so we're up to 3 items in the elementary.
Nice.
That's all I got.
Any questions for
Oh,
Mr.
one other item, Ed Foundation dinner is coming up on,
When's the last day to sign up?
well,
Hopefully not.
next,
today.
Yesterday.
next week or 2, next couple weeks.
Why did we not coordinate with the theater department this year?
Uh,
'Cause
we.
that was my highlight.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
the Ed Foundation decided to do something different this year because our numbers were going down. We went from over 200 people down to 100 and some, so we wanted to try something different to see if we could get more people to come. So,
Okay.
I think mainly the main reason, we're gonna try it this year and just different function, try to make it more of an adult themed event,
You should tell community ed not to plan tournaments
you know.
on that day. I'm enough, so
Yeah, we would be home by 7, 6.
I'd be lucky if I'd be home. I didn't get home till 7 o'clock from Staples.
And then we have the booster trivia, and that's in February
It's in February.
as well. So, that's all I got.
Is that the acoustic people playing that night?
Yes. So if you can't make the dinner, concert's still a great concert to come to, so, yeah. So if you can't do the dinner, tickets for the concert are available too.
They'll take your money no matter.
Yeah, any other questions on the number?
Nope.
Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
I don't think I've ever gone.
And the meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you sign those 3 things?
I just about to.
American food?